French Kiwi Juice, the rising multi-instrumentalist otherwise known as Vincent Fenton, is someone that most people found through Tadow with Masego. I mean, Tadow was actually made spontaneously. Vincent was on his way to Denver, where Masego was opening for him in 2016. On the way there, he listened to Masego's stuff on the plane. When they landed, both of them had heard each other's stuff. When Masego performed, Vincent was astounded and booked a session for them in Paris. Later on, Masego flew all the way from LA, spent the entire day making 12 tracks with him and experimenting, completely improvised sessions. When you delve deeper into French Kiwi Juice as a musician, you actually find he has a lot of solid discography. So what is it that actually makes him stand out? I mean, if you've listened to him already, it's probably his blend of groovy loops, a wide sweeping array of synth sounds and hard-hitting yet smooth bass lines. Also, just have a look at most of his videos. Spot a trend? They're all live and mostly improvised. And he's pretty damn good at it. From collaborating with people like Tom Misch and now even Bass, he's making waves. And all of this really stems from the fact that he was composing from the age of 12. 12 years old. I think at 12 I was playing too much RuneScape. Growing up in France, he observed that the French music scene was always changing. In each town in France, he noted that the music that people were listening to kept changing. So there was always that sense of, okay, I've never heard that before. Let me think about what I like and I don't like. So he was constantly experimenting and learning, which is probably what molded him with the skills to perform as a one-man band. And that's pretty interesting, because a friend once told him that Vincent's music always had a touch of groove, which could expand to any genre: house, R&B, rock, hip-hop. So Vincent actually stuck with that. When people ask him now what type of music he makes, he always resorts to saying, I just make expanding groove. His thought process is never, oh, let me make a song in this genre. It's actually just melodies in his head that are translated to an instrument of his choice, which then leads him to a genre. He stated in an interview at Block.fm that he always evolves. Every month he finds something new that causes him to make something different. And this isn't new. He's always been iterating like this since his first EP. And you'll note that progression as you listen to his discography. In the same interview, he had a great point about originality. He aims not to have a phase about wanting to please people, and stated, if you're really doing you, 100% of your music is going to be unique. If you are too afraid of doing you, then you're going to get lost in the mass. Think on that. That actually is defined as, to me, pure creativity, unmolded by demand. Despite the fact that he says he tries to constantly evolve, he also admits that he gravitates towards certain things, like beautiful and calming melodies. He has faith in audiences who love authenticity. Another key point is inspiration. So knowing that he makes a lot of improvised music, he sort of relies on random thoughts to strike him. And he's admitted that there are moments where he's really inspired and moments where he isn't. And that's fine, that's human. But one thing he notes is that when he's experiencing a lot of emotion, that's the best time to formulate a song for him. Funnily enough, want to know his general advice for both creatives and non-creatives? Travel or hang out with friends. Get those emotions. Without those emotions, in his eyes, life is boring. And that, to me, is a great way to think about things. Emotions are what defines how we experience events. It's how we've interpreted a situation and reacted. But essentially, we've lived. I think this plays into his latest EP, Ylang Ylang, which was named after a room that he recorded all the songs in. Around this room, there was nothing and everything, as he said. Forest, mountains, ocean, dirt roads. No electricity, no internet, just the generator giving him power at night. Just long enough to give him time until the morning. It's also the name for a tropical tree in southern Asia where he predominantly travels and performs in. Now, I think there is definitely a hint of genius in here. He even painted some of the album covers. I actually believe that the serenity and lack of distractions when he records is what is so pivotal for him. It allows him to focus and keep developing. Risk with Bass, for example, came about because they were messaging each other for a while on vibes and different music. Vincent sent over his EP, and once it was done, Bass sent him the completed track soon after. The track was just an instrumental made a lot earlier in that same exact room. The track Earthquake came about in 2016 when he was staying in a place called Tainan during a show. He was in his hotel room on the 10th floor, and at 4 a.m. the room just started shaking. Everything started to vibrate, and the hotel he was in started to physically sway, and it just kept going. Vincent said he had flashed forwards to his end here. His hands were paralyzed and on the window, observing the tilting horizon during the earthquake. A long time later, the earthquake stopped. He got out of the room with his crew and they all drove away, north, away from Tainan. A few hours later on the news, he noted seeing many buildings having collapsed there. The song was dedicated to the 117 souls who lost their lives in the earthquake. Brother came from an old family recording of his, where there were all sorts of voices chattering away in this old recording, and yet, through the noise he heard his brother Thomas mutter a few words. This triggered him for a specific reason. His brother, as he describes, is a special person, someone in his own world, someone who rarely talks to people, apart from those very close to him. Vincent stated that Thomas was someone who can feel a person's energy on a deeper level and won't even look into their eyes if he doesn't deem it being right in his eyes. But if it does feel right, he'll smile and be warm. The song is an ode to the lessons that Thomas taught him over the years. Overall, to be honest, it's refreshing to see evolution in new ways in music, and French Kiwi Juice is definitely someone who's testament to the fact that not all of those who wander are lost.